Mark Wahlberg isn't exactly the kind of guest you'd expect to be involved in a daytime talk show scandal, especially on The View. Known for his disciplined lifestyle, action-packed film career, and devout Catholic faith, Wahlberg typically carries himself with a level-headed demeanor in interviews. But when he appeared on The View to promote his latest film, a war drama with deep political undertones, the conversation took a sharp and unexpected turn. What started as a routine discussion about filmmaking and patriotism quickly devolved into a fiery ideological clash with co-host Joy Behar. Wahlberg, not one to back down, pushed back against Joy's often politically progressive takes, and what followed was a confrontation that escalated so dramatically, producers were forced to intervene. By the end of the segment, Wahlberg had removed his microphone, exchanged final tense words, and stormed off the set while cameras were still rolling. The audience sat in stunned silence as the panel scrambled to regain control. Within hours, the moment was trending across platforms, sparking debates on everything from free speech to Hollywood's political double standards. The segment started off casually enough, with Whoopi Goldberg welcoming Wahlberg and asking about his transformation for his gritty role in the upcoming military-themed film. Wahlberg spoke passionately about the real-life veterans he consulted, the mental toll of playing such a role, and the message he hoped the film would send about sacrifice and service. But when Joy Behar shifted the conversation toward Wahlberg's well-documented views on religion and politics, the tone quickly changed. "You've spoken before about how faith guides your decisions," Joy began, "but do you ever feel like your perspective shuts down more inclusive modern views, especially in an industry as diverse as Hollywood?" Wahlberg, clearly caught off guard, responded, "I don't think having faith excludes me from being inclusive. My values don't cancel out compassion." Joy pressed further, "But doesn't your support of certain causes put you at odds with progressive movements?" Wahlberg leaned forward, his calmness beginning to fray. "I think the real issue is people thinking different views mean you're against progress." What began as a philosophical discussion about values took a sharp left turn when Joy said, "You can't just cherry-pick values, Mark. If you support institutions that discriminate, then you're endorsing that discrimination." Wahlberg frowned deeply. "I think that's an unfair assumption," he said. "I support the things that uplift people. You're making it sound like I'm walking around with a pitchfork." The audience tensed. Whoopi, sensing where things were heading, tried to redirect the discussion back to the film, but Joy wasn't letting it go. "It's not about pitchforks. It's about accountability. You say you support the troops, but some of the organizations you back have been openly anti-LGBTQ. Wahlberg visibly bristled. "I support people who protect our freedom," he said firmly. "I don't have to explain every donation or affiliation like I'm on trial here." The mood on stage had shifted completely. Sunny Hostin leaned back, remaining silent. Sarah N. looked uncomfortable. "Enjoy." She doubled down. Joy fired back. "But you're here promoting a film that's about heroism and justice, and yet your public statements seem to suggest selective justice. That's the issue people have." Wahlberg stared at her, eyes narrowing. "You don't know me well enough to make those kinds of statements," he said. "I'm not perfect, but I do a lot more than talk." His voice had a sharp edge now. "It's easy to sit at this table and criticize, but try walking in someone else's shoes for once." Joy wasn't having it. Came here to promote a movie, not preach. If you're going to wear your values on your sleeve, expect to be challenged. Wahlberg stood up abruptly. "This isn't a conversation anymore. This is a hit job." The studio went silent. Whoopi raised her hand, motioning for calm, but Wahlberg had already unclipped his mic. He looked directly at Joy. "I've been respectful, but I'm not going to sit here while you question my integrity on national television." And with that, he walked off the stage as stunned gasps rippled through the audience. The aftermath was immediate and chaotic. The show cut to commercial early, while backstage producers tried to make sense of what had just happened. Joy remained seated, unfazed, sipping her water as if nothing had transpired. Whoopi, trying to salvage the segment, told viewers, "Live TV, folks, things get real." Social media erupted with reactions. Hashtag Mark Wahlberg walks out. hashtag The View Drama, and hashtag Joy Behar Trends began trending within minutes.
Out.
Moment and pushed headlines that framed the walkout as either a bold stand or a meltdown, depending on their political leaning. Fans of Wahlberg praised him for standing his ground, saying he refused to be bullied for his beliefs. Critics accused him of being thin-skinned and unwilling to engage in tough dialogue. The moment transcended mere celebrity gossip, became a litmus test for where people stood on faith, free speech, and media accountability. The irony, of course, is that Wahlberg's film A Tale of Unity and Courage was now overshadowed by division and controversy. ABC was quick to address the incident with a carefully worded statement. We value open discussion and diverse viewpoints on The View. We regret that today's segment did not reflect the respectful dialogue we strive to create. Behind the scenes, however, executives were reportedly furious not just at the segment's outcome, but at how quickly it had derailed from a promotional interview into a cultural battleground. Joy Never One to Retreat opened the next day's episode by addressing the elephant in the room. Mark Wahlberg didn't like being challenged. That's his right. But it's also our right to ask real questions. Her words sparked yet another wave of debate. Whoopi, in contrast, was more reflective. Maybe we all got a little heated. Sometimes the lines blurred between tough questions and personal attacks. It was clear the panel was divided not only in opinion, but in tone and audiences picked. Up on that division, Wahlberg, for his part, maintained radio silence for the first 24 hours. Then, in a short Instagram video filmed at his home gym, he addressed the incident head-on. Look, I don't mind being challenged.
I don't know, but when you're
being misrepresented on live TV, you've got two choices. Sit there and take it, or walk out with your self-respect. His words resonated deeply with his fan base. Celebrities and influencers weighed in, some backing Wahlberg's exit, others arguing he missed a chance for real dialogue. The moment also reignited a broader debate about how faith-based figures are treated in Hollywood and the double standards that often apply. Editorials ran in both conservative and liberal publications, each painting their own version of events. But Wahlberg's calm, post-show response earned him credit even among some critics. At least he didn't shout, he just left. "Oh, that says something," wrote one opinion columnist. The ripple effects continued. Wahlberg's film, initially expected to make a quiet award season entrance, saw a sudden spike in attention and online searches. Box office projections were revised upward as audiences now viewed the movie as not just a piece of cinema, but a statement. Meanwhile, The View experienced a brief ratings boost, controversy, as always, bringing in curious viewers. But internally, sources said producers were now re-evaluating their guest prep process, especially for celebrities whose views might clash with the panel. This wasn't supposed to happen, one staffer said anonymously. It was a promo tour stop. Nobody expected a firestorm. Behind the cameras, tensions remained. Joy reportedly defended her line of questioning as journalism, while others on set whispered that the show had lost sight of its tone. Turning interviews into interrogations, Wahlberg eventually resumed his press tour, appearing on less confrontational platforms like CBS Sunday Morning and The Tonight Show. He kept his message focused on faith, redemption, and community. When asked indirectly about The View, he simply said, "Sometimes things don't go how you expect, but you can't let moments define you." His message of grace without retreat resonated, especially with audiences tired of media shouting matches. Meanwhile, Joy continued her regular hosting duties, never explicitly revisiting the clash but alluding to it occasionally with her signature sarcasm. Some guests can lift a 200-pound dumbbell, but can't handle a 5-minute question, she quipped on a later episode. The jab, though subtle, didn't go unnoticed, but Wahlberg didn't engage. He chose silence, letting his work speak louder than the media storm.